You damn player haters never wanna see me blow. Flamboyant entertainment, CEO. Yo, the spotlight is mine, it ain't his no more. When Lee come home, niggas can't.
Here we go with another video. What y'all watching? What you watch? I'm Aquarian OG, and you should get to know me. Today, we're gonna check out some sick African weapons. A little lighter note to add on to take off some of the edge from the last video, which was about the whole Australian thing with the was it netball? The netball team. So we're gonna look at some sick African weapons. I'm kind of curious as to what kind of weapons that they talking about. And we talk about probably talking about like the indigenous weapons, like before the whole gun trade and all that other stuff that goes on. I'm assuming, because we've seen all that stuff before. It's like, oh, whoa, an AK-47, you know. But you see somebody's blade that they made that's native from whatever land that is, dude. That's like, oh, snap. I wonder how somebody got it with that one. You know, you start thinking of Braveheart and stuff like that. But all right, if you have not subscribed to the channel, we're trying to grow this bad boy. I seem to be stuck in the 90s. I'm trying to hit that 100 mark so I can clean up this URL and get them random YouTube letters and numbers off of it and take some ownership and have the name put on there. So when somebody put in Aquarian OG, it pops up as me. You know, I mean, it already does, but you got to do like, I want it more specific. It looks better when you post it. All right, let's get up in this.
Africa is a pretty big continent. In fact, you could fit all of Earth, Venus, and Jupiter in it, and still have room for the Paul brothers' combined ego. Naturally,
Wait a minute. How the hell does... He said you can fit all of Earth on Africa? Isn't Africa on Earth? Making Earth the bigger one? Because if that was the case, this would be planet Africa and not planet Earth. Okay.
being such a big place, people there came up with lots of ways to kill each other. Here are the ones who were most creative about it. In the 1700s, there were these people...
I'm not even going to say it. But, you know, matter of fact, I am going to say it. So for the break, it sounded like German music when we're talking about Africans. So if they had used an African beat, would people have taken offense to that? Even though that's the subject? Because I'm thinking about people's feelings. You know, everybody's all in their feelings where they have no common sense anymore. That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one.
Called the Zandi, who lived in the modern-day Central African Republic. For most of their history, they'd been happy to just farm and herd livestock or whatever, but then this Avangara clan took over and decided that aggressive military expansion was way cooler. Now, obviously, in order to be a world-conquering empire, you need to have some serious hardware behind you. The Romans had the Gladius, the British had the Lienfield, the Russians had Winter, the French had the Baguette, and the Zandi were pretty kitted up as
He said the Russians had winter. You ain't lying about that. Oh my God, I can't stand the snow. Ooh, what is that? He said the French had baguettes. The French just cannot catch a break, can they?
As well. For example, pretty much everyone has knives, but the Zandi were the baguette, and the Zandi were pretty kitted up as well. For example, pretty much everyone has knives, but the Zandi were like, alright, we're gonna make this thing 2 feet long, add like 4 blades, and then we're gonna chuck it at people. Thus, the Kapinga was born.
Damn.
The Kapinga was used in a similar fashion to the Roman pilum, being thrown at the enemy during a charge. It could either be thrown overhand to hit your head, or thrown underhand to hit your legs. It had multiple blades, so as it spun through the air, it was much more likely to hit you than any other knife, and even if it didn't, it would bounce all over the place and hit your friend.
You got a knife, you got a scepter, you got a scythe, you got a dagger. You got one part that's just gonna catch you like a fish hook. The handle probably had some blunt force trauma added to it. It probably had nice weight. And it didn't matter where the hell. That's why the spears was so long. I mean the spears. That's why the shields were so long. Because of this thing.
However, despite all of its strengths, it did have one weakness. Alright, weapons test
You had to
number
go get it.
1. Let's begin. Ah! As you can see, the weapon is quite effective at maximum. Oh hey, what's this knife doing here? Wait, stop, don't throw.
It could be thrown back.
Can be thrown back. The Zandi also used this spear called the Makriga, which looks
Damn. I gotta look some of these things up. I'm gonna watch this video after I get off this video. I gotta look some of these things. Did that spear really have that much stuff on it? It's got spikes and it looks like the tail of you know those prehistoric what the hell were they called? They look like the armadillos of water. The prehistoric things with the multi shells. I forget what they're called. But they had a tail that looked something similar to that.
freaking sick and probably hurt a lot, but it was always getting stuck in people's bodies, which was kind of inconvenient in the middle of battle.
You couldn't pull it out?
Come on, come on! Finally, the Zandi had this little thing called the Mambeli, which answers the age-old question of what if a question mark could kill you? And the answer is that it probably couldn't, because the Mambeli was most likely just used ceremonially, but pretty cool either way.
The Zulu, overrated but still pretty cool.
Everybody knows about the Zulu. They're the tough guys of South Africa. They trained on thorns and like to wrestle, yada yada yada. Connor, are you sure that dissing a feared and respected warrior culture is the best move? What if they kill you? I work a 6 a.m. lifeguarding shift, so I start every Monday morning wanting to kill myself. So, I mean, what's the worst they could do?
Touche.
What is up, my dudes? The Zulu inhabited parts of what is today the creatively named South Africa. They found themselves in conflict with pretty much everybody, so...
He said the creatively named South Africa. Hey, at least he can say it.
had to come up with a lot of ways to defend themselves. And aggressively expand. The two main weapons used by the Zulu were the Ikwa spear and the Iwiza club. The Iwiza was essentially just a carved piece of hardwood that was often used as a walking stick, but when the need
knock
arose,
that
you could
noggin.
just take out the L, put in a C, boom, whacking stick. The Ikwa had a very large blade compared to most other spears and was never used as a walking stick, despite how intimidating that would be. Interestingly, it was supposedly named the Ikwa because of the sound it made when it was pulled out of somebody, but that sounds fishy to me, because unless the Zulu had some weird onomatopoeia, I think it should have been named the... A much rarer type of weapon used by the Zulu was the Azenzi stabbing axe, which is really just exactly what it sounds like. However...
A stabbing axe. Sounds like a bad beat.
Shaka thought that the Ikwa was a better weapon, so he discouraged his soldiers from using the Azenzi for anything other than pre-battle rituals, like sacrificing cows and stuff. That's still
Makes
pretty cool
sense.
though, actually. The Ngombe are a group of people that inhabit the northern part of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Nowadays, they just kind of hang out, but back in the 1800s, they made some pretty sweet swords. The Ngulu blade was a serious piece of work that was reportedly used for human execution, although reports of this are probably exaggerated. It was most likely used as a status symbol by boring old people, which is immeasurably disappointing. I mean, look at this thing. I'm guessing that God just decided that this sword was too OP and nerfed it in the ceremonial patch, because imagine if this was actually used on people. Aha, Mr. President. You have been tricked, duped, bamboozled. Let him go.
Interesting arrangement of characters. Very imperialistic.
You just try
But I
and make
digress.
us little. Oh me moly, what is that thing? Guys, put your guns down, put your guns. We surrender, we surrender. Moving over to the west a bit, the Fan and Mapungwe people of modern-day Gabon are some of the only West African groups to adopt crossbows between the 1400s and 1800s. They were likely inspired by the crossbows of the Portuguese, who had been visiting the area for a while at this point.
Visiting. If you know anything about history. Visiting. Yeah, they wasn't gonna stay long.
West African crossbows were usually much longer than Asian or European models and shot much lighter bolts. However, these bolts would frequently be coated in whatever local poison people could dig up, so as long as it punctured your skin, it would do the job. I guess they had some cool trigger mechanism or something, but I'm not an engineer, so I don't really care. Ingenious as it might have been, though, it turns out that guns are better, so crossbows fell out of fashion.
Well,
Thanks,
duh.
Obama. You may have noticed like 6 billion video.
Damn. Well, damn. They on some subliminal shots firing here. Thanks, Obama? Come on, son. You know that shit was going on way before Obama. I don't know how to feel about this video now. I see a whole lot of little slip shots and jabs in here, though. You think I ain't catching those? Well, we catching those. It ain't slick. Thanks, Obama? Like, really? I don't really give a damn about politicians, but damn, like, come on.
Videos in your subscription feed today, and that's because a bunch of history YouTubers just made a bunch of videos on African history. I'll have a link to the playlist in the description and the comments. The video that comes before this is about Mansa Musa by Mr. Best Class, and the video that comes after this is about Queen Nzinga and is by Fiveable. Definitely go check him out. GG's in the chat, good stuff all around. Another long day at the office. Let's see what the humans are up to. Oh jeez!
The humans.
Iron, and this is what they do with it? They weren't supposed to kill each other. They're supposed to, like, make farming equipment. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Dumb humans. Sometimes
I don't understand what he's trying to do.
bring out the worst in me, I swear. Oh, jeez!
I'm confused by that.
Africa is a pretty...
Anywho, that's a little quick video with a lot of. It was different than what I thought it was going to be. It had a lot of. Yeah, there was a few. There was some shots fired in that one. Like, all right. Okay. I'm gonna let that be, because I'm a Korean OG. And you should get to know me. But for now, I'm OUT. Deuces.